Hello, and welcome to episode 315 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Brian,
And I'm James.
and this week we are going to be talking about the Tarkir Dragonstorm debut and mechanics? Question mark.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I guess we can talk about the debut. I didn't like pay close enough attention to have a discussion on it. I just figured we'd talk about the mechanics.
That's fair. I just saw debut in the show notes, and I went with the word. But yeah, this is we're gonna talk about like the mechanics from Tarkir Dragonstorm.
Yep.
So, we are back into
Perpetual hype spoiler season.
perpetual hype spoiler season. If you have things you want us to talk to, you can find us on Twitter, Discord, email, what's it called, Blue Sky,
Hmm.
all that stuff. Maybe let us know some cards you want us to talk about.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to do something new. We're gonna try to try to find the uncommons that look like they'll go to $8.
Like
Like
stock
there's
up.
been like stock up
Yeah.
or what was the oh gosh, the one on the white, Sheltered by Ghost.
Hmm.
Like there's been like one of those seemingly every set,
Yeah, I don't know that.
or like
Did we speak on Shelter to Ghost? I know we talked about stock up.
I don't know if we did or not. I think I was kind of like it's good in Boggles, but I didn't think it would be just like generically good.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like if you think you have found the spicy like 50 cent pre-sale uncommon that we can flip to Card Kingdom or on TCG Player for a significant profit in 4 weeks,
Yeah.
let us know.
Absolutely. Hit us up. Like Brian said, all the links are in the description. If you want to support the show, there's a couple ways you can do it. The first is with our TCG Player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Surf on over there, do your shopping, buy whatever uncommon we decree is the one to get that you
Yeah.
can resale later, or anything else you want to purchase. TCG Player has all that stuff. And if you use our affiliate code, you support us at the same time. Not our affiliate code, our affiliate link.
Yeah.
You support us at the same time. We would appreciate that. If you want to support us more directly, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG is how you can do that. Patrons get access to my show notes, so you get kind of a sneak peek about what the episode's going to be about for the week. They also get roughly an hour-ish of additional content out of us every week in the form of our unshow. As I say every week, we're old, and sometimes we can't figure out our equipment, and now we live half a country apart. So we like to spend an hour or so before the show catching up, making sure all our equipment is working properly, our internet's going to hold out, and we record it and pipe it right into our patrons' ear holes. They like it, so you might like it too. To get access, like I said, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Chip a couple bucks in, help the show out, and get more of us.
Yeah. All right. So the first thing in the show notes is history time
Sure.
and kind of big picture history, right? Tarkir or the Tarkir block
Mhm.
was very important in Magic's history
Mhm.
because that is where we switched from 3 set blocks to 2 set blocks,
Right.
right? So, uh, uh, Dragons of Tarkir. No, what was it?
Cons.
Khans of Tarkir. Thank you. Khans of Tarkir was a 3-color wedge set
Mhm.
built around these large dragons. That were built around like the heads of these clans, and they were all 3 colors.
Right.
Right.
No
and
dragons. No dragons in
no
the
dragons.
first set.
No dragons. And then Fate Reforged was a 2-color kind of like dragon set.
Mhm.
And then we went to Dragons of Tarkir, and Dragons of Tarkir was a 2-color dragon clan. So like you had were they elder dragons?
Yeah, I think so.
You had like elder dragons at the head of each color pair.
Yep.
And that is kind of how the sets were built. So how are we kind of like mixing that in with in Tarkir Dragonstorm?
They are fighting back against the dragons. So we will be going back to the clans. I believe each clan has like a head figure like the Khan would have been. That'll be like a legendary figurehead for the clan. And each clan is also going to have a spirit dragon for its colors also.
Gotcha.
And we are going back to the same wedges as Khans had. So Abzan, Jeskai, Sultai, Mardu, Temur.
Yeah, so Khans of Tarkir is where those names came from. So for like 10 or 15 years, there wasn't a name for those wedges.
Right.
You had like from Shards of Alora, you had like Esper Bant, Jund, Esper Bant. Why can't I think of the Naya?
Grixis.
There we go. And then it was just like happy fun time for like what we were gonna name the other ones.
Yeah.
Until Cons, it was like Jeskai was like America.
Yeah. Abzan was Junk.
What was Temur? Temur was something weird.
Yeah, it did have a name, didn't it? I don't remember what it was.
I think. And then like, was Mardu just bad? I don't remember. Like, like I don't even think they all had names.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I feel like Temur had a name. Was it like because there was like
Rug.
Canadian Threshold, Rug. That was it,
yeah.
Rug.
Very inventive.
Rug, and then Sultai was Bug.
Yep, Bug.
Rug and Bug, and then Mardu was just like I don't remember.
Unplayable.
No one did that.
Yep.
So like the Khans block is where you got your like wedge names.
Yeah.
So each wedge has a mechanic for the set. So and they kind of call back to the original set, or some of them do.
Most of them fit at least thematically, if not mechanically.
Yeah. So like for Abzan, which again is white, black, and green, you have Endure, which is is a keyword action that creatures take. It's followed by a number where N tells you how many counters you can put on the creature, how many +1/+1 counters.
Yep.
Or the size of a spirit token you can make.
Yep.
So if N is 2, you can put 2 +1/+1 counters, or make a 2/2 spirit.
Yep.
And then if an endurability resolves while the creature isn't on the battlefield, you simply make a spirit token.
Yep. So it's very much like, was it Fabricate?
So it's got some Fabricate vibes.
Except instead of making like a number of servos, you're making a big spirit.
Yeah. And I was going to say, like, there was Bolster, which was the, like, when this creature comes in, put counters on other things.
Yeah.
Right? And Bolster 2, you would put a +1/+1 counter on up to 2 things.
Yep.
Or 2 other things. And then Abzan, there was, like, Abzan Ascendancy, that, like, when a creature died, you made, like, a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Like a 1/1 flying spirit.
Yep.
And so, like, this feels kind of like putting those 2 things together.
Yep.
I mean, we've seen that, like, depending on the bolster number, like, how real that creature is.
Right.
Right? Like, you know, like a bolster, like the example we have is it's 6 mana for a 4/4, but it also makes a 3/3. So it's either a 7/7 or a 3/3.
Right.
Right? Like, that's a lot of stats for a common.
Exactly.
That's 6 mana, right? And like, I think in limited, like you probably make like the creature.
Yeah, I think so.
Right, because you like one removal spell blows you out when you put all of your eggs in like in the one basket of like making your creature big.
Right, but 2 actual threats is.
Yeah, and you get the same power and toughness. It's not like you get like a bonus. Like you still end up with 7/7 worth of stats.
Right. Just on 2 bodies instead of 1.
Yeah. So, like for constructed, like I guess it like there is one. Did you see the rare, the Inoffensa?
I saw it, but I was
Yeah, I know you don't have to
Otherwise
grab it.
occupied. So, I didn't actually read the card. I saw that there was one, and that's about the
Um,
extent of my knowledge.
it's like 2 and a white for like a 2/2 first strike, and then with flash. I'm sorry, and whenever another non-token creature you control dies, Anathema endures 2.
Oh,
So like
wow.
all of your creatures turn into 2/2s when they die.
That's pretty good.
That's really good,
Yeah.
right? So, right, like a
Did you
card
say
like that where you,
non-token? Is it non-token?
yes,
Okay.
non-token. Um, but we now have enough zero 0 mana 0/0s.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Flash this in and then just be like, all right, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's a bunch of 2/2s. Can you beat me? Probably yes, but you know,
Play that fecundity.
but yeah, or Grim Horror Specs,
Yep.
or was it Midnight Reaper?
Midnight Reaper. Yep.
But like if you're making a real creature,
Mhm.
like this could be like a, I could see like they're gonna have like a 2 and a white 2/2 flyer that endures 1.
Yeah.
Right, like 100%. They're gonna like just make a winged drake that makes like a 1/1. They've made that card like a million times.
Yep.
Right, and like that card will be like borderline constructed playable.
Mhm.
So, yeah, this feels like a mechanic. I'm behind it.
Excellent. I like to hear that. The next one doesn't so much feel like a mechanic. This is Flurry. It's the Jeskai mechanic. Jeskai is blue, red, and white. Flurry is an ability word, and each Flurry ability has a different effect. They're all triggered, and they trigger whenever you cast your second spell in a turn. So kind of like Prowess, except it only happens once, and it's not +1/+1. Although I guess it could be +1/+1.
It could be.
But, yeah. Some important timing things here is because it only triggers once per turn. That doesn't mean it's dependent on the card. It's dependent on when you cast your second spell. So if your second spell was the card with Flurry, then it wouldn't see itself, and any spell you cast after that, you would have already cast your second spell.
Yeah, it's your third or your fourth or whatever. Yeah.
Right. I was just gonna read the card. You got something else to add?
Okay, go ahead. No, read the card.
The card we have is Devoted Duelist. It's 1 and a red for a 2/1 Goblin Monk. It has haste and flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent.
This is like Thermo Alchemist, or what was the other guy, like the Keswick Flame Breather?
Yeah.
Right. This is that at home.
Yeah. I think it's
Right,
worse
like-
than both of those, but yeah.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
the whole meme of like we have McDonald's at home. And
Right.
It's just like right, a frozen burger patty,
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah. This is not great. Like, so the mechanic as a whole, I kind of mentioned this in the pre-show, but like remember when we did was it AFR, the Dungeons and Dragons set?
Yeah.
And they had like, they had like kind of the ability words that were like, remember this term from D&D?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of almost like flavor text.
Yeah.
Like this feels like that. Like you could take Flurry off of this card and just have the text, whenever you cast your second spell each turn, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent, and the card works 100% fine.
Well, I mean, we've had a bunch of that, like recently.
Yeah.
The blue-red archetype for a while has been like 2 spells per turn.
Yeah, so it just kind of feels like we're going to do cast your second spell, but we always name it.
Yeah.
Like we don't want the archetype to be, because like in Modern Horizons sets, they often do, like they did a bunch of like, when you cast your second spell, or like the last one when you draw your third card.
Yeah.
Right, like is like it gonna be like catalog?
Yeah.
Or something like, brainstorm when you draw your third card, because they needed like a way to like, we need to say we have a mechanic.
Right.
Just feels like we're gonna do cast your second spell. Okay, cool. What are we calling it?
Yeah.
Uh,
Kind of like red green
Jack?
4 power matters.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna call that Ferocious.
Yeah.
Now, like, Ferocious has kind of like caught on a bit, but like, it still feels like
Right.
this kind of feels almost throwaway.
Yep.
And it's like super limiting. Like if like Jeskai is supposed to be the spell slinger deck, and you get like your ability once each turn,
Yeah.
like that seems like not that spell slingery.
Right. You're not really slinging spells. You're just kind of dripping them out.
Yeah. All right, we have Renew in Sultai.
Mm-hmm.
And Renew is an ability word, and each Renew ability has a different effect, although they have some things in common. All Renew abilities include exiling the card with Renew as part of the activation cost, and all of them can only be activated as a sorcery, and all Renew effects also involve putting counters on creatures. So this kind of like Flurry. So we have, it's just kind of like a word in italics.
Right.
So we have Agent of Kotos.
Sure.
Kotiz? I don't know.
Whatever.
One of the blue for a 2/1 human rogue. With Renew, 3 in a blue. Exile this card from your graveyard. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. Activate only as a sorcery. We have done this in like each of the last like 6 sets. There's been at least a card.
I feel like there was already this mechanic with a keyword.
What was it in
Scavenge?
Scavenge was like maybe like we did it in like Innistrad block, like the first one.
Yeah.
Like Shadows of Innistrad, like with Dauntless Cathar, but it wasn't keyworded.
Right.
Scavenge is like when you cast a spell, you can exile cards from a graveyard, or
And
then
that's not what I'm thinking.
um,
There's a green card that sees play in Standard from Murders, I think.
Oh God.
I can't think of the name of it though.
I don't know, but like this feels like a mechanic, a thing that we have done repeatedly that they just decided to name.
Yeah.
For the need of having to name it, as opposed to like this is like world building, makes sense. Like it just feels like, well, we're gonna exile stuff. Bug is gonna exile stuff. So
Bug.
what are we going to exile it with? Or what are we going to call that?
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking of Rebel Belt Maverick. It's not keyworded, though.
Okay.
But it's this ability. Green, exile it from your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, activate only as a sorcery.
Oh, that thing. Yeah.
I swear we had this with a keyword, though.
So all of Aether Drift, there was a cycle of like when you have max speed, you can exile this from your graveyard and do thing.
Yeah.
So like it was kind of tied up with another keyword. But yeah, this just feels like it doesn't feel like a mechanic. Right? It's like something that we've done a whole bunch. And so it feels weird to like now all of a sudden name it.
Right.
Now, on the other hand, I am okay with the like, you know what? We don't need to like invent some like new mechanic for this set, because like I think they've gotten themselves in trouble.
Yeah.
With the like every set has to have 5 brand new mechanics.
Right.
Right? Or like 1 returning mechanic and 4 new mechanics. And sometimes it's just like, you guys can just like do stuff that you've done before. I just think it's weird that we had to like throw a word in front of it, but that's just being old.
Well, like the other part of that though is it makes it like it increases cognitive load for no good reason. Like if you have 4 mechanics that are all ever so slightly different but basically do the same thing, like it's super easy to get confused.
Yeah, like is there gonna be like some Sultai payoff that is like whenever you renew, draw a card, let's say,
Yeah.
right? Are they gonna have to go back and errata all of the cards that do this
To be renew.
to be renewed? Now, since they involve putting counters on things, you couldn't do like whatever, like the zombie that when it was a one in the black 2/2 that you could pay 4 mana when it's in your graveyard and make
Yeah.
it 2/2, or like Dauntless Cathard and put counters on things. But like, are they gonna have to go back and be like, oh, anytime that you could like exile something from a graveyard and put a counter on things like your Rubble Belt Maverick?
Yeah.
Oh, that needs to have renew.
Needs to have renew.
So that it like works, because they've done that with a few things.
Yeah.
Right, like we noticed, was it last week when we looked for affinity, a bunch of cards that weren't keyworded affinity got keyworded affinity.
Well, there's a card in this set that has affinity, but it's not keyworded.
Oh, the affinity for creatures card, the Salt Road, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the card. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But yeah, like that's kind of dumb. Like you just keyword, you just went back and retroactively keyworded stuff. Yeah, so I don't know. Like this is fine. Like if the limited environment allows this to be good, right? Like those are the kind like a slow, grindy, like trade resources, get a little bit of value out of my graveyard kind of thing is like the kind of set that I enjoy.
Yeah.
So like, I can be down for this.
I have some thought. I don't know. Like I added it in the show notes. I don't know if you want to talk about it today or if you want to talk about it when we do our signpost commons and uncommons. But I think there's some things we should maybe refresh on.
Okay.
For limited purposes, like being a 3-color set.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll see where we are time-wise.
And I think like this conversation kind of plays into that. Because like a 3-color draft environment is going to be slower. Like there's only so fast you can make a 3-color draft environment. Now,
yeah, when you have to play a bunch of tap lands and stuff.
Yeah, that's not saying that, you know, somebody won't find a 2-color aggro deck, but 3 colors pretty tough to keep.
Do you remember Streets of New Capenna?
Yeah.
The blue-white like tempo deck was like the only thing to draft. Like you just couldn't draft 3 colors because like the stupid like Angel just like wrecked everything.
Yeah.
Right, like there could be a 2-color deck that just like it's like, well, you know, we're just gonna be lean and whatever and be more aggressive.
Yeah.
Or tempo-y. Alright. What do we have for Mardudu?
Mardudu is Mobilize. And this is red, white, black, just so you guys remember. Mobilize is Goblin Rabblemaster. So
kind of, yes.
Mobilize is a triggered ability that triggers whenever a creature with the ability attacks. The number after Mobilize indicates how many tapped and attacking 1/1 red warrior creature tokens you'll make. Once it triggers, it doesn't matter what happens to the creature that attack. You make the tokens regardless. And you sacrifice those tokens at the beginning of the next end step. Just like Rabblemaster, this puts them, or not like Rabblemaster, like whatever it is. It puts them in
tapped and attacking.
Tapped and attacking, so they're not. Actually
I was
declared.
thinking like Brimmaz, because like Brimmaz,
sure,
like
yeah,
this is old. Like when you attack, then the creature comes in already attacking.
Yep.
So yeah, so you don't get any of the when a creature attacks or do a thing triggers.
Right.
Because the creature skipped the point where it got to be declared an attacker.
Correct.
It just was attacking.
So I made a joke in the Discord last set about new Goblin Rabblemaster and the Rabblemaster alert. I don't think I can do it this time because it's just a mechanic now.
Yeah. I mean, they don't stay around.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit worse. But I don't know, it's an aggressive mechanic, which like, you know, if the set is slow, then this mechanic is probably bad in limited, right? If this mechanic is good, you're like getting like annihilated.
Yeah.
Right? And then this also like encourages them to put like cards that key on that have like that key on things dying.
Yep.
like a blood artist
Yep.
kind of effect,
Or impact tremors.
yeah, exactly, or impact tremors where like as they come in.
Yeah.
So like you could very much like have draws where you're like, play my 2-drop, play my 3-drop that is an impact tremors,
Yeah.
attack, make 2/1/1s, deal you 2 points of damage in like just dealing a ton of damage super fast.
Yeah. I do want to point out real quick that just the existence of this mechanic makes me want to look out for whatever trumpet blast they put in this set.
Oh yeah.
Because like if you go 2-drop with mobilize, 3-drop with mobilize, 4-drop with mobilize, and then you trumpet blast on turn 5 and crack in, like
Oh yeah,
that's
you
a
just have
lot
a huge
of damage.
Yeah, you just like you've put like an extra like 3 or 4 bodies on the board when you attack.
Yeah. You went super wide without having to go super wide.
Yeah, you like got to play like creatures that actually had power and toughness,
Right.
and then made the little ones as opposed to playing spells that made little creatures that didn't block well or whatever.
Yep.
Um, seems interesting. This is a very like word number heavy set.
Yeah.
Um,
Makes
and
me
then
thankful
we have
for Arena so I don't have to
count. Yeah. How big? How many counters am I getting? How many guys am I getting? Like whatever.
Yeah.
All right. We have Harmonize, which is the teamer mechanic, which is green, blue, and red.
Mm-hmm.
So Harmonize allows you to play a card from your graveyard by paying its Harmonize cost. And so, in addition, if you cast it this way, you may tap an untapped creature you control as an additional cost to cast a spell.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, you reduce the mana cost of you reduce the mana cost of the Harmonize part of the spell by the creature's power.
Yep. The example we have here is Roamer's Routine. 2 and a green for a sorcery. Search your library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle. That has Harmonize 4 and a green. And then you would cast, like, after you cast the spell, you pay its Harmonize from the graveyard, cast it from your graveyard, and then you can tap a creature to reduce the cost. Kind of playing into Teamer's old mechanic, Ferocious. With this card, if you had a 4-power creature that you could tap, this would make this like Circuitous Route or whatever, like 4 mana, get 2 lands.
Yeah, like, if there's like a 3 mana 4/2.
Yeah.
Right? Like you play this on 3, then you play the 3 mana 4/2.
Yep.
And then you like tap it and you pay 1 mana and you get to cast this again.
Yep.
But someone's angry. Like it's like it's like Flashback,
mm-hmm.
which like Flashback always plays well. It like wants you to play like longer games. Like it's a little overcosted because you get the like cost reduction from like having a big thing.
Yeah.
And you can only tap a single creature.
Right.
So it's not like you can like it's not like crewing. You can't like pile them up. You just have to pick one creature.
Yeah, whatever your
to
biggest
do the
is.
tapping. Yeah. But I mean, you could also like on turn 3 again like play the 4/2, and then your 4/2 is your turn 4 is like ramp, like double ramp, do the circuitous route thing like you said.
Yep.
So it's interesting. Like it doesn't feel like it's weird that like it is a graveyard based mechanic
In
for
Teamer.
Teamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Teamer isn't supposed to be the graveyard based
Well,
thing.
like I think that where they're trying to go is you're using your creatures, which is the Teamer thing. Like it being out of the graveyard is just kind of like the road to take to get there.
Yeah, and like we've got to have overlap with Sultai.
Right.
Since they share blue and green.
Yep.
So it's a way to like kind of do both.
Yep.
All right, so what about our Dragoons?
We actually have 2 mechanics for dragons. The first one we're going to talk about is Omens. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the card, and it should look pretty familiar to you because the templating is the same as Adventures. This only appears on dragon cards. and so it'll be a dragon card, and then like where the adventure would be on a adventure card, this has the omen portion. It's going to be like an instant or sorcery that you would cast, just like you would an adventure, except that instead of the card going on an adventure in exile for you to cast later, it gets shuffled into your library. So you have the chance to, I guess, draw it again later.
Mm-hmm.
The example we have here is Durgar Island Dragon, 5 and a blue for a dragon. It's a 4/4 flying ward 2, and it has Skimming Strike as its omen. 1 and a blue for an instant omen. Tap up to 1 target creature and draw a card.
So, like, the fact that the omen has draw a card is helpful. Thank you.
Yep.
But like, I think this is significantly less powerful than
Adventures.
Because Adventures, like, you always just drew the creature side.
Yeah.
And this, like, you don't. It's just like, would you? It's kind of like Adventures, and like I think you evaluate it as, do I want is the creature side competitively costed enough,
right,
for me to want to play it? And then like maybe I'll do this whole omen thing sometimes because it's not like horribly embarrassing.
Yeah.
Or is the omen competitively casted enough that I want to cast that,
mm-hmm.
and then like
randomly
I don't have to
get a creature later. I don't know.
Yeah, or like I don't even have to cast the creature, right? Like I'm just going to like play, play the omen whenever I get it, right? Like,
yeah,
like for this one, like 2 and a blue draw a card. I mean, is that think twice?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
I mean, it's half a think twice.
It's half a think twice.
Yeah.
But like, it's not horrid.
Right.
It's not great, but it's not horrid.
Yeah.
But like, you could see like if they made like a, like a stomp, like a 1 in the red deal 2, you'd be like, okay, like I'll play that regardless of what the creature side is. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
Right. I'll just play my 1 in the red deal 2.
Yeah.
So that is it is you. I think you evaluate them similar to Adventures, but like they are like powered down Adventures.
Yeah, like I don't think they could be Adventures, just because they're only on dragons. Like all of these omen cards are going to be dragons, so like I think that would be too hard of a knob to balance, if you know what I mean. It would, like, because you're always drawing this like big flying thing, like it doesn't really matter what you cost it, because like you're going to be playing a long game. Just like the fact that you're playing these cards means you want to play a long game, and it doesn't really matter if this thing costs 6 mana or 8 mana. If you're going for the long game, then
eventually you get to cast it.
Yeah.
Right. Eventually you get to play the big flying idiot.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's like, control on the ham sandwich, right? Or like, hey, like I have ground you the dust and I drew a ham sandwich. I will now cast my like, I'll cast my 7 mana like 3/4 flyer.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't kill it, you die.
Right.
Go. Right. It doesn't matter what it is. It just matters that like it has power and toughness.
Yep.
So, yeah, like it is a hard knob like to balance. It just, like I said, I think again when you look at it, like, hey, this is not Adventures.
Right.
This is less powerful than that.
Something.
But
different.
I think you still evaluate it like the same way of are both sides of this, one side something that I want, and I will just play the card for the one side, or like in the case of like Bone Crusher Diet, both sides are something that I want.
Right.
So I will play both. I will play it, and I will like do both.
Brazen Borrower.
Or Brazen Bar is the other example. So yeah, it's interesting. Like shuffling it back in, like you do kind of like, make it so you can't mill out.
Well, like when I was reading this card, I kind of had a thought like that, because this is 2 mana, tap a creature, draw a card, which means they probably won't have something that's just like a blue mana, draw a card as an omen.
Yeah.
But if they did, like how much work would you have to put in to thin your deck with these? So like that's all that's left.
I mean, I don't know if you can mill yourself enough.
Yeah.
Um. So, but like, you'd only have to have these because you do the thing on the card, then shuffle it in.
Right.
So like, if you have 0 cards in your deck, you draw.
Right.
And then I wonder if a bunch of them are gonna like say draw a card to make it for the fact that it like shuffle. Like,
I
I
don't
guess
know.
like the fact that it shuffles away it's just like casting a regular instant or sorcery, right? Instead of going in your graveyard, it just goes into like your deck.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
like,
weird.
but it's like just like casting an instant or sorcery.
Yeah.
So like, I guess they don't have to put draw a card on it.
Right.
I wonder how many people are gonna like look at the templating,
Mm-hmm.
gloss over the fact that it says Omen,
Right.
and think that like on
Assume
pre-release
it's an
weekend,
adventure.
assume it's an adventure because we've had like 3 or 4 standard legal sets with adventures.
Yeah, that's kind of what I alluded to in the pre-show when I made that comment also about like a bunch of, it was in the pre-show, right? A bunch of mechanics that like all act very similar with like a word difference.
Yeah, like things we've seen before, but just like a slight twist. Like this
Right.
feels like you can't go like back and forth between like adventures and omens, right? Like
Right.
I guess we did Eldraine almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like Wilds of Eldraine. So we're like far enough removed from adventures that like maybe people don't get tripped up.
Yeah.
But like you can't like do an adventure set in like 6 months.
Right.
Right? Like cuz then you're like people are going to have cards in their like hands that they'll be like, is this one like, now I have to like look, is it an omen? Is it an adventure? As opposed to be able to just look at the card and know.
Well, I mean, we got 3-year rotation now, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have Wilds of Eldraine and these cards like overlapping.
Yeah.
But like there was a time back in my day, there was a time that like you could just like you would see like the art of a card and know what it did.
Yeah.
But we got rid of that because we have to print 45 versions of every card.
Holy moly, they went even more this time around. I think I didn't look at the collecting article or whatever, but I think there's more treatments this time than there normally is.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And but then it was then they were like, okay, we're gonna like design like frames and stuff in such a way that you can just look at the card and know what it does. We're gonna put the Nyx frame, the enchantment frame on every enchantment, so you know it's an enchantment.
Yeah.
And like, hey, this is how we template adventures. And then they're just like, or not. Like we're gonna template another card type.
Yeah.
Just like adventures.
Well, I mean, they kind
It'll
of
be
broke
fine.
that mold with sagas, though, right? Because there's regular sagas, then there's read ahead sagas.
Yeah, and now we're gonna have creature sagas.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. I don't know. I just like the game's always been complicated, but it just feels like you used to be able to say like, hey, when a card looks like this.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean,
like
that's what happens when you let the computer do the heavy lifting, and like
yeah,
you don't expect
like,
people to play in paper.
You could say like, hey, like when there are 2 numbers in the bottom right hand corner, it's a creature.
Yeah.
If not, it's not a creature. Then it was like, well, if there's this like if the text box is split in half, it's an adventure, and you do this.
Yeah.
Now it's like, well, now if the text box is split in half, now you need to read: is it an adventure or is it an omen?
Yeah.
And then do accordingly. It just seems like a lot to like try to like teach someone the game now, because like a lot of the like ability to like grok things or just like look at them and kind of like intuit what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Is out the window, because again, like you said, like no one's gonna play in paper. We're just gonna all play on the computers.
Yep.
And then it'll all be good.
Yep.
All right. And then what is our other we have another one.
Yeah, our other dragon mechanic.
All right, is I guess behold.
Behold, yeah. To behold a dragon, you either choose a dragon you control or reveal one from your hand. We kind of did this in
Like Silumgar Scorn.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And that was in Dragons, right? Not Fate.
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
Some spells have an additional effect if a dragon was beheld. It applies no matter, like, it doesn't matter which one you do, whether you reveal a card or pick one you control. The spell does the same thing either way, and it doesn't matter what happens to that card after, like, as the spell resolves. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if they kill your dragon in response, like, it would still be held.
Yeah, it's not quite as an additional cost to cast the spell, but it's kind of in the same vein
Right.
where like once you have like done the like thing, like once you've beheld it, you've paid that cost, and now
Right.
the spell's on the stack.
Right. The example we have here is Caustic Exhale, black mana for an instant as an additional cost. Behold a dragon or pay 1, and target creature gets -3/-3 till end of turn.
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like one in a black, give something -3/-3 has been a playable card in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
Yeah, seems powerful.
yeah. I mean, if you have a dragon, you get like a super disfigure.
Or a changeling.
Yeah, or a changeling. Yeah, but you just get like a super,
Yep.
like the most souped up version of this. Yeah, like I think this card's great. I mean, the mechanic is fine.
Yep.
Like it really. So if you remember, remember Esper Dragons,
Mm-hmm.
where like it was just a control deck that just had, its finishers were dragons, and so like it just got to play
Yeah.
all of these cards that were like, hey, if you reveal a dragon from your hand,
Yep.
you get a reduced cost. Like you definitely could like see like a control deck, like an Esper control deck. Again, Esper Dragons, but the 2025 edition,
Right.
where like you just get to go like, here's the dragon I'm going to cast on turn 7 when I have counterspell backup, and I'm going to kill your thing for 1 mana.
Yep.
Your go. Right? Like you can.
Here's how
definitely
I'm
just
going to
see
kill
that.
you now by showing you how I'm going to kill you later.
Yeah, like we are gonna get to this
Yep.
at some point, but don't worry about it. We're gonna get there. So like, it's not like, yes, you're giving up like information, but it's not that big of a tax,
Right.
right? Because like your opponent figures out like, oh, I bet you they just have some big idiot dragon to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter if they like figure that out on their own, or if
Right.
you're just like, here's a big idiot dragon. Here's this big idiot dragon in my hand that's gonna save me like 4 mana across the next like 7 turns.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, well, that's a problem. Okay. So, yeah, like behold, like we've seen it before. Like it played well. Like there'll probably be like 1 or 2 cards. Like this feels like it is kind of like right at that like could do the thing level. Like could see like constructed play.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
It kind of
like,
compete. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't know how many cards it's going to be on. It is
Yeah.
a secondary mechanic for not, I mean, a main theme of the set, but not one of the wedges. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't know how many cards they can devote Behold to, whether it's just going to be a cycle or 2, or if it's going to be, like, widespread. So, we'll have to wait and see what the cards do themselves.
I think it kind of matters like how good the dragons are.
Sure.
Right? Like, because like the only reason like Esper Dragons was a thing is because like you could play Ojutai and then I just couldn't die.
Yeah.
Right? And like, so if there are dragons that like you want to play anyway in your deck,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's like 2 of these that are like, I'm gonna make this a 4 of in my deck.
Yeah.
That is playing like 6 dragons. Okay. Like that is enough dragons, and like, if the non-beheld cost is not like too terrible.
Right.
Right? If it's like, 2 mana or 3 mana for an effect that you would normally pay 2 or 3 mana for.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's just a normal card, and then sometimes I get a modern playable card.
Right.
Now I will say that like this card in particular, it does kind of like run up against like Cut Down.
Yeah.
Right? Like Cut Down is always 1 mana and kills stuff on turns 1, 2, and sometimes 3.
Mm-hmm.
Where this like isn't always 1 mana. Right. So like if you really need it to be 1 mana, like you're kind of like SOL. And it's not so good. Like it's not so good that you're like, I'm willing to kind of take that risk.
Yeah.
So remember, what was it? Feed the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
The like one in the black, but if you sacrificed the food or like took 3 cards out of your graveyard,
Yeah.
it costs like it costs 1 in the black, and if you didn't, it cost 1 black. And it was just like, I am Hero's Downfall.
Yeah.
If you don't do the thing, which is like a borderline playable card,
Mm-hmm.
or I am like great. Right? Like that card hasn't seen constructed play, but it's like kind of right at that edge of like if there was a deck that was sacrificing food or taking cards out of its graveyard,
Yeah.
like that card could maybe see play. Like is the like one in the black neg 3 is that good enough is kind of the like
Right.
thing. I guess it depends on like what gets played and stuff.
Mm-hmm. We will see. So those are all the new mechanics. We do have 1.5 returning mechanics.
Okay.
The first is Surveil.
Yeah.
But like that's evergreen now, so I don't know why they called it out specially.
Did they call it out because they made it evergreen in this set? Like, was it evergreen before?
Thought it was. We've had it a bunch.
We have. So maybe, yeah, I don't know why they put it in there. That's weird.
The other returning mechanic we don't do that often, and that's hybrid mana.
Yeah.
We did not too long ago have Phyrexian hybrid mana.
Mm-hmm.
On a cycle of cards, wasn't super widespread. This works kind of the same way, except instead of spending life, all of these will be 2 generic mana.
Yeah, so it's like one of the examples was like 2 or green, 2 or blue, 2 or black. So you could pay 6 mana.
Yep.
Or you could pay Sultai.
Yep.
Or you could pay like 2 green black.
Yep.
Or like 4 and a black or whatever, or however it works out, or 4 and a blue.
Yep.
A thing to note in the like tricky rules interaction for like constructed, their converted mana cost is the uncommon, or their mana value, I'm sorry, is the colorless or the 2 generics added together.
Right.
So like 2 or a green, 2 or a blue, 2 or a black has a mana value of 6. So that kind of lets you do shenanigans with Up the Beanstalk.
Yep.
Quintorius nonsense, where like maybe you need like, you know, your mana's good enough that you can have Jeskai on 3.
Yep.
Or Mardu on 3, but you don't want to play a 3-drop.
Yep.
So hey, there you go. You have a 6 mana spell that doesn't get hit by Quintorius.
Right.
But if your mana is also bad, you still have like the bailout of, I guess I can cast this for 4.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you want to talk about in terms of like drafting a 3-color set?
Well, it's been a while since we did it, and this is this is going to be truly a 3-color set.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit different than we've handled 3-colored sets in the past. I think because the wedges are so mechanically tied, you're going to have more like 3-color decks than we had in like Streets or whatever. So I don't know, just like how should we approach limited, like drafting our limited deck differently, knowing going into this that it's a 3-color set? Is there anything that we do different?
I still think that like you need to be like cautious about committing to like a wedge early on.
Yeah.
Right. So just like you wouldn't like the bar for pack 1 pick 1ing a 3-color card in the set might be slightly lower than in like a 2-color set.
Mm-hmm.
It's still pretty high.
Right.
Right. A 2-color card is going to give you, like a black-white card is going to give you outs to Abzan or Mardu.
Right.
Where like if you take a 3-color card, now you're kind of like stuck. Like you either are not playing that card, or you like might get railroaded into a wedge that is not particularly open.
Right.
So even though it's 3 colors, that doesn't just give you carte blanche to be like, well, I'm going to take the Mardu card.
Yeah.
Because the Mardu card is the rare.
Yep. That is the main point. There's a couple other smaller points that I wanted to speak on real quick, but that is the main one. Is like when you're drafting, obviously, like take a single color card, but because this is a multicolor set, the density of multicolor cards is going to be way higher. And like if you have points of power to hand out when you're designing the set, you're probably going to give extra points to the multicolor cards because they're harder to cast, which means the single color cards aren't going to be as good. So you're probably not going to pick one or pick two, going to pick a single color card. But
yeah, I mean there's some rares that like might get to that level.
Sure.
That are synchro, yeah.
But I think you're spot on. As a rule of thumb, you should be prioritizing some of the color pairs, like the enemy pairs. Even if you're taking like single color cards, I think you should be prioritizing enemy pairs instead of wedges.
Yeah, you don't want to like take a, let's say, a blue black, like the blue black side post on common, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And then like next pack take a white card.
Right.
Right, because Esper isn't supported.
Right.
Right. So you want to make sure that you are kind of staying in the supported wedges and not, one, don't lock yourself into a wedge.
Yep.
Like, and then 2, realize if you take like that, you don't want to get yourself out of like the wedges. So like black white card, you can like prioritize a green card or a red card. Don't go like blue. Right. Because that's not supported. So you just have to be mindful of that. Also, like there's going to be times where like if you are a combination of, if you've done a good job drafting combined with like you get a little bit lucky, right? Like you're gonna have like people that are not in your wedge passing to you in packs, like particularly pack 3. So like maybe you're Mardu and it's like Jeskai, Sultai, and the Jeskai player opens a Mardu rare.
Right.
That gets fed to you, or at least, in a non-arena world should get fed to you.
Right.
Right? Because neither one of those players can cast it.
Yep.
And similarly, you're going to have times where you like get to your pack 3 and you're like, ugh, I can't cast this card.
Yeah.
There's no way I can do it. And then I also think like, don't be afraid to like prioritize the lands, particularly if you're like, let's say you took like black, white card, black card, right? You're like solidly in either like Mardu or Abzan, and there's like a Scoured Barons. Right, like take the Scoured Barons. Like
Absolutely.
You're like 3 cards you're 3 cards deep, like and they're black and white. Like you're gonna play those 3 cards and the Scoured Barons. Like you need to make sure you can cast your spells. And so like lands go up, and like I think we've seen this in other like sets where there's a lot of colors. Like a lot of times in like pack 3, people kind of panic and go like, I didn't take any lands.
I need all of the lands, and then they dry
I need
up.
every land I see, and then like, so you're kind of scrambling. So I'm not saying like, first pick lands, but like those like picks like 4, 5, 6, 7.
The lands get more appealing.
They get more appealing, especially if they are like, I think the best place to be in a pack is like you're a colored pair, but you don't have like a third color.
Yeah.
So like if your lands are if there are lands that are your color pair, or lands that like a black-red land, like okay, like now I have a little bit of support for Mardu.
That's exactly what I was going to
land.
say next, was that like the one off color fixing land is going to be like slightly more important also.
And like you don't necessarily. Okay.
I was just going to say it gives you the opportunity to splash. Like
Yeah.
a lot of these decks I don't think are going to be true 3-color decks. Like they might have some 3-color cards, but I think most of them are going to be like a color pair splashing a third color.
Yeah.
And if you pick up the Bloodfell Caves in your white black deck or whatever, like maybe you get to play that card. Or even like in your Abzan deck, if you end up with some like busted red card and you had prioritized the lands a little bit differently, you might be able to splash it.
Yeah, but like also like in terms of like that splashing is like, if there's like, a bunch of like seas and then there's like a land,
Yeah.
right? Modern limited, there's always enough playables.
Yeah.
So like you can take a land that maybe touches one of your colors because you don't know if you're gonna open a Mardu rare in pack 2.
Right.
Right? Like you took the Bloodfell Caves and then you open the Mardu land and you're already set up to cast it.
Yep.
Right? As opposed to if you were like, well, I'm gonna take this like, 2-mana 2/2. Right? This like a solid C.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I open the Mardu rare. I don't have the mana. I'm gonna take it, but I don't have the mana. My mana's not as good.
Yeah. Now
It might be harder for me to cast it. Right? But like later in the draft, 2-mana 2/2s are going to be like easy to come by.
Right.
Particularly if people are like, oh no, I don't have any way to cast any of my spells.
Right.
And also like, while there is going to be good fixing, again, like try to stick to like your wedge.
Mm-hmm.
And don't go out of your way to like be like, well, I'm Abzam, I'm gonna like splash this busted Mardu card.
Oh, that's not what I meant at all.
Yeah, but like don't go out of your way to
Yeah.
do that. Like what you meant is like you're a black-white deck that has like 4 red cards.
Right.
That technically makes you Mardu, but like you are a black-white deck, so you can like cast your spells.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not like, hey, I've got 10 Mardu cards in my deck.
Yeah.
Like, you might not be able to cast any of your spells.
Right.
Another thing is these are the gain lands that gain a life.
Mm-hmm.
Those also tend to slow down the format.
They do.
Right? Because, like, if your opponent's trying to get aggressive and you're just, like, and you've gained 3 life off of your lands over the course of, like, the first, like, 6 or 7 turns,
mm-hmm.
right? Like, you blocked a 3/3 at some point for no mana.
You countered a lightning bolt for no mana.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, that does have a tendency to slow down the format a little bit, just at, like, incidental life gain.
Yep.
So.
The other thing to note, I don't know how important it is, but in cons, like the true 3-color set cons,
Mm-hmm.
We had morphs to kind of fill out the game while you had where you got your mana underneath you. We don't have that this time.
Yes. And that was a big deal. Like,
yeah.
If you could take like the morphs did 2 things, right? Like, it was like, hey, your mana sucks.
Yep.
You can still like play a card. And then it was like, hey, now your mana's good. You have a mana sink to put
right
your mana into now that you have like more lands on the battlefield.
Yep.
We don't have that here. So like having like, it depends on the speed of the format, but like probably prioritizing trying to have like maybe 4 like dual lands. So maybe like if 2-drops aren't super important, like you can go like tap land, and then on turn 3 like have your colors online.
Yeah.
As opposed to like if you had like 2 dual lands, if you're lucky you have a tap land, and then you might not have your mana online.
Yeah.
Avoid the Devil's Mana Base.
Yes.
Right? So that is, for those who don't know, that's 6/6. Right? Like you need to, again, like if you're a black-white deck that has some red in it, you want to be like 8/8, 9/7, and then like 3 or 4.
Right. For
your red cards. Right? And also like avoid double-colored cards like on the splash.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know, like have they, other than some of the bombs, have they even spoiled any double-colored cards? Typically in a like constrained environment like this, they tend to shy away from that.
I mean, some of the dragons are double, but maybe that kind of falls into the like the bomb category.
Yeah.
Like there are some rares that are double colored that are kind of like driving, like, you know,
Yeah, I don't
that are
see
like,
anything at lower rarity though.
yeah. So that could be like that could be kind of taken care of
Yeah, and like
for
in a
you.
three color set, a lot of times it's easier to cast like a multicolor gold card than it is to cast like double pip.
Yeah, because you have like one of each land
Yeah.
and not two. So like, what is this? Bloomvine region here. If it wants to bring up, of course not. I took off my glasses because it was hurting my head, and now I can't.
Now
Now
you
I
can't
can't
see.
see. It's like a 3 green dragon with like flying. Whenever this creature or another dragon you control enters, you gain 3 life, and it has some omen that is the font is way too small to read for me to read without my glasses on. Um, but like if you like, let's say you pick that card, right?
Mhm.
And you're like, I want to play this card. Well, congratulations, you need to be like 9, 7, 10, 6
Yeah.
green to make sure that you have enough green pips to cast this. Now it's a 5 drop, so maybe you get a little bit of leeway. But you like you can't just take it and be like, well, I'm gonna be like 8, 8, 5,
Yeah.
and like I'm gonna have 5 green sources in my deck. You are never casting it.
Right.
Like ever, ever, ever. So just be mindful of that. Yeah. Any other like kind of like drafting kind of advice?
No, that was pretty much all that I had wanted to cover. Like I said, it
Good
kind of
job, us.
tied into what we were talking about earlier, so I brought it up.
Yeah.
But basically, it
Yeah.
just the differences for the kind of set it is.
Yeah. I mean, Streets of New Capenna, like because of the blue white deck, was kind of like
Yeah.
but like, um, a set like this, like these kind of like designed 3 color sets, are often like Cons was good.
Mm-hmm.
I guess like Cons and then Streets was kind of the next one, and we've had some like maybe not designed 3 color sets that ended up being like slow, dirtily like 3 color sets.
Yeah.
I mean, Dominaria was kind of like that, where you could play like 3 colors.
Yep.
Um, like even Outlaws of Thunder Junction
Mm-hmm.
kind of turned into like kind of a mid-rangey soup, like good card set. They're usually pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
hopefully I'll have it. I've already like put on the calendar when pre-releases. So I will
There you go.
try to at least attend one
Yep.
and report back what the cards smell like. All right, so you got anything else?
I don't.
All right, so with that, I think we got a show.
We got a show.
So, again, like spoilers are going to be coming. We're going to start talking about cards and stuff like that very soon. So if you have cards you want us to talk about, if you think again you found the like mythical $5 comment or whatever, let us know. Facebook, Discord, Twitter, Blue Sky, email. All those links are in the description. Say hey and let us know what you think and what you want us to talk about.
Yeah, hit us up. If you want to support the show, again, a couple ways you can do it. First is with TCG Player via our link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Surf on over there, do your shopping, support the show at the same time. The second is through Patreon, Patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Chip a couple bucks in, get access to the show notes, get access to about another hour of content out of us in the form of our unshow, and support the show. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah. So with that, we'll catch you on the internet.
We'll catch you on the internet.